Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of the Gentleman's Pick Up. White gloves can only mean one thing, one great thing. We've had an update to the brilliant ZX Touch, and this has got some new firmware on it. So I'm really excited and thankful to go on to actually reach out to me to say, hey, would you like to do another video? Yes, I absolutely would. You may know about this firmware already. It's first been announced in the May edition of Crash. This is the video to complement that announcement. Let's go on a bit of a journey together. So this is my ZX Touch. You've seen it in quite a few videos before. It's currently turned off, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be updating the firmware. So yes, you might have seen this, but it's always good to remind you what to do, what not to do here when we do this. So we have got pretty much a full charge of battery, and we're going to click on here, and basically this is a test version of the firmware as it says here. We're just going to click on upgrade, and we're going to say yes to this. There are other ways to upgrade the firmware. You will get it from the official source on the official page, but as this was sent to me, I've thrown this onto my SD card to basically put on the device, and we'll go from there. So this is currently programming, and I hope you've been reading the text that's on the screen here to give you a brief snapshot of what we're going to be having a look at as we dig deeper into this video. We're nearly done on the upgrade, and we're going to then have a look at the features step by step in a slow measure tutorial that will hopefully help you get the best out of your ZXT. So upgrade is finished successfully. We will say OK to that, and we click on here, and we're going to do exit firmware tool. Yes, that's absolutely fine, and it will reboot. On previous videos, I've shown you how to change the backdrop there for your Clive Sinclair or my Clive Sinclair, as I've got him on here, and we are ready to go to have a look at the new features. Welcome to the Wi-Fi section, the Wi-Fi part of this video, and this is going to cover three things we're going to be looking at. It's going to be Wi-Fi setup, it's going to be the FTP server, and it's going to be the ZX Touch file manager. Now the eagle eyes of you can actually see that I've already got this here. Look at that little icon there. So my Wi-Fi is ready to go. But if you want to set up your Wi-Fi on this device, you go into settings, you go into miscellaneous, and you scroll all the way to the bottom, and you've got Wi-Fi connection. This is turned on obviously because we've got this icon here, but we are going to go into set. So we're going to work from top to bottom here. You can choose your Wi-Fi by clicking on here, and it will bring up the list of available Wi-Fi networks. When you select it, you put in your Wi-Fi password, and there's a really cute touch. A Spectrum keyboard will appear to allow you to put that password in. It works really well. And then this fills out here where you've got the IP address of your local device here. Now we have selected Web File Manager here. We're going to change this to FTP server, and if you notice, you can only have one of them running at a time. So you toggle, you have to wait just a little bit, and this is status off, this is now status on. This here, tester and password, you set those. So this is basically an unsecure FTP client, and by unsecure there's no encryption or anything else like this, but that's fine for what you'd expect here, because all you're doing is copying snapshot files around and items like that. In order to use the FTP server, I basically use something called FileZilla. It's a free download, and we can bring this up here. Now if you look, what you can see is a whole list of files on the bottom right hand side. That is my SD card. I've actually already deleted one of those files because I want a bit of a demo to show that it is working here, and the one that was deleted is Dropbox device, but you can use this to easily copy files to and from your ZX Touch. The host at the top, 192.168.0.85, is representative to what was shown on the Wi-Fi connection. Tester and password are what I set for the FTP server. So yeah, Bob's your uncle, literally. This is very easy to set up. This might take you less than 30 seconds. Let's close down the FTP server. The one that is really good is the web server. I was really impressed with this. So we're going to toggle across to the web file manager. The web file manager, let's get the name right, and in a moment's time you will see this little QR code in 54321, there you go, appear, and that will allow you to easily connect. If you want to put your phone to it or something like that, it resolves to the address that you've got down below here, which is the IP address. Alright, so let's bring this up and show you what this is, and here we are. You will notice that there is one file missing. It was basically the Dropbox file that was there, and this is so good to be using. You know, I was touching the screen there, and you can't see the screen, but yeah, this is absolutely brilliant. So what we can do is we can delete a file. So we've installed a download. No, we don't want to download. We've installed this firmware file here. We're going to click on here, and we're going to do delete and delete it. Yes, we will. And you can see that it actually disappears. So, you know, this is live interactive at managing your SD card from your PC, which is going to come into a lot of use in the very near future. We've covered most of the Wi-Fi features just now, but there's a couple more things that I would like to share with you. The Web File Manager and FTP as well allows games to be added directly from a mobile phone. For example, while in a cafe. Imagine this: you're sat on a train, you're sat in a cafe, you have a look at your favourite site, and you see a new game has been released. Well, you can add this with no additional infrastructure. You simply enable a hotspot on your phone and scan the QR code of the camera. This way, games that you've just found online on your phone can be transferred and tested immediately. Also, for reference, MDNS, if you don't know what it is for cases where a mobile phone isn't used. On a local network, MDS advertises a console's address using a name, so instead of typing an IP address. What this means is you can sometimes lose an IP address, and IP address can change. Well, it's a local way of resolving your device that you're currently on to effectively the ZX Touch, and it's basically enough to enter something like zxt.local if ZXT is the chosen MDS name, so you can easily get onto your Touch. The rest of this video is going to be a little bit different. And why is this? Well, when you record on the ZX Touch, you've got the camera above pointing down on the screen. And this is all about video enhancements, and the camera from above does not fully capture what's going on the screen. So we're actually going to go to a slightly different video that's been recorded directly on the ZX Touch. You can't do this yourself. I can't do this myself, but the creator of the product has kindly stepped in to actually say, look, here's some video that's been captured, and what he's done is he's removed the screen and he's got a special HDMI adapter that's connected to the screen output so he can record the video. If you've been following along this channel and looking at the videos that we do for the ZX Touch, over the time this great product has been available, you'll know that every release has got something really major behind it, and this is ZXT FX titles. Now, these are enhancements to the original games, but it's very important to point out that no ROMs are modified in any shape or form here. Everything works on the original, completely unmodified. The game logic, timing and behavior is exactly the same, and basically the ZXT is doing real-time visual updates, real-time graphical improvements using various shaders, backgrounds and a couple of other bits and pieces that we're going to demonstrate right now. So what we're going to do is we've got a few games that you can see on the screen now. You know, Manic Miner is one that I'm particularly good at. We'll have a look at Space Invaders as well. You know, all these games run without modifying the original ROMs, and we're going to fire up Manic Miner very quickly, do the first level of it, maybe the second level, and then we'll basically toggle to the original one so you can see how different this looks. So in we go here. It looks very pretty if you can see it there, but what's it like in game? What's it like in game? And there you go. Press enter to start. And look at that, completely different but the same in a lot of respects. A background has been added, you've got shaders there, you've got a little outline if you look very closely around Miner Willy that helps effectively the background look a little bit distinct from it as well. It blends really well. Look at the blocks I'm standing on, look at that monster. You know, all of that is done without modifying the original game. Your memory muscle will be exactly the same when you play this, and it's absolutely outstanding how you can customize these games. You know, I'm trying not to get myself killed here. I want to get to the next level so you can see the next level, because what you can do is different levels can have different backgrounds, and there's a very clever method of actually doing this when you create these files. You know, a lot of work has gone into this. I was blown away when I first saw this. You know, we've had the upgrades as this project has gone on, you know, and they've all been good, but this is something else. This takes the backgrounds that you've seen before and, you know, really improves from what we had on the last release. So we're going to flip now to the cold room, and just look at that. You know, it's absolutely gorgeous. It really is gorgeous. And, you know, it looks like effectively, you know, a brand new Spectrum. You know, it looks like what the Spectrum games would have been if the Spectrum had carried on. You know, glorious deep colors, bright colors, vibrant colors that you've got here in palettes that you wouldn't have seen before, with full color backgrounds, and to know that, you know, with a little bit of time, a little bit of effort, and obviously reading the instructions that come along as well, you can do this to pretty much any of your games that you choose to, and you know, you'll have a really great experience. So we're just going to go down here, we'll look at the next screen there and see what we have. And there you go, look at that, again a different background here, and you know, that looks very much like a cabin, doesn't it? But yeah, absolutely beautiful, absolutely beautiful. But what we must do is take a flip back to the original Manic Miner and actually show you how bad that looks in comparison. So here we are back on the same level. This is Manic Miner, exactly the same game, exactly the same engine as what you have just seen, but I know which one I would rather be playing these days. So here we are back in the Menagerie, the air is going down. This looks so pretty, you know, we've gone from what you've just seen, the original version, back to this, but we're going to gently pause this for the moment. What we're going to do is we're going to turn off all the graphics and we're going to turn them on one by one so you can see what the difference to some of these settings make. So here we are, all settings have been turned off. This shows you that you are running the original game, and we're going to turn on the background. This is the background turned on. It still looks rather bright, doesn't it, with the colours that you've got for what you're actually used to. And this is very much what we had on the older version of the ZX Touch firmware, where you could change the backgrounds, but you couldn't do all the magic that you can do now. We're now going to turn on the shader. With the shader turned on, if you look at the characters, you'll see a very faint outline around them. This shows that they actually blend into the background a lot better. It really helps compensate you know, the harsh difference between the Spectrum graphics and what we're actually moving to with this enhanced version. So this one is rather incredible. This is Attic Attack. So, you know, we're going to give this a go, just show you a couple of rooms here, and this makes great use of the different backgrounds on the different setups, and you know, it's a joy to behold. It's a joy to behold, and remember, it does not change the original ROMs in any shape or form. So let's start the game. Is it one of these buttons? There we go. And look at that, doesn't that look magnificent? You know, it's kind of incredible to see this, isn't it? Let's grab one of those keys, go through here. I can't remember my way around this map too much, but I just want to show you some of the different things that you've got here. Oh, we've got a key, we can go through here. Where's the underground bit? I'm looking for a trapdoor to see whether we can go downstairs. No, I think that's the stairs that way. We want to go this way. There we go, there we go. And watch this. You know, we're now falling down a little bit, and there should be some stairs down, I think, all the way down here. There we go, there we go. And look at this, look how great this looks with some of the changes that you can do. Let's flip back to the original Attic Attack to see how it compares. And here we are, back in exactly the same room. So yeah, you know, it's like chalk and cheese. It's really like chalk and cheese when you compare both of these games. It truly is. I would find it very hard to want to play the original again, because this just looks so good, and this is just a testament to what you can do with this system. Let's go and say one more hello to the devil as we run by, and then get out of that room. Alright, we're going to do one more game. We're going to look at one more game. We won't do a comparison, but just to show you how marvellous things can look. So this is Space Invaders up and running, and it looks like an arcade game with the modifications to the graphics, the backgrounds and everything else. And again, just to emphasize, let's just pause this for a moment. There we go, take a close look at those Space Invaders, and we are going to turn the lines off around the edge. And this is what they look like. So it is the combination of all the features that you can do with the FX Manager to actually make this so damn good, to look so damn good. And you know, I hope that we have a lot of these FX files that are going to be shared around the community as well. You know, it only takes one person to do a little bit of magic to tweak something like what you see now, and you essentially have a whole new game. It's like comparing, in fairness, and this is a huge compliment to what's actually going on with this device. It's like comparing the Sinclair Spectrum version to a Spectrum Next version, and you kind of do this in here. It's obviously not a Spectrum Next that is running, but it's just brilliant. It's so brilliant what you get with a little bit of effort. These are the FX games, and the FX games are very, very unique in what's going on here. And the most important thing to shout out is the incredible work that's been done on this system. It modifies the screens in a way that you have never seen before. And what I mean by this is you get things like the Mr. FPGA that will add a CRT filter or something like that to actually give you effectively a CRT type vibe to what you're looking at. But this modifies it with backgrounds, with color effects, with a couple of other effects that you have as well, and the combination of modifying the display before it's presented to the user at the level and depth that this device does, is something that no other emulator does. No other creation that I can think of in my entire gaming history has done this. So this is a world first for the ZX Touch, and all the magic you see in these games, yes, I've been toggling bits on and off to show you the little bits of differences that you get, but all the magic that you see in these games is really controlled by the FX Manager. If we go into the config settings just here, in fact, let's load the game first. We go into Manic Miner and we do start. Turn that off because we don't want to hear it. We go into here, we go to display, and you can see all these options that are here. We can turn edge color shader back on. I think we turned that off a little bit earlier, but FX Manager is what controls it. So we're just going to go into edit here, and what this is doing is, as you know, Manic Miner has got a lot of different screens. You can mark certain areas of the screen to actually say, right, okay, if I see this here, this letter G here in this particular location, I will have background number 19. So we can go back here, action 17. If I see this quote here in that particular location, we would have background 18 that you can see here. You can go through and have a look and see where these changes go. And it's really, really rather cool because it allows you to create multi-different screens for what you see. Think of Attic Attack you saw. Think of Manic Miner you saw. Different backgrounds just to present a slightly different way. Before we close out this section, it can be a bit daunting when you have a look at all these changes and you think, whoa, that's a bit hard for me. Well, alongside the firmware release, there's going to be 20 prepared ZTG game packages included. And these files will not contain the actual ROM image. We've emphasized this quite a few times due to licensing reason. So users will need to add their own. And I'm going to stay quiet just for a moment so you can see a few before and after pictures of these games so you know what is in store for you, and always remember you can create your own. We start by opening the folder named after the game and placing the tape file inside it. Backgrounds will also need to be added into this directory. You will see them in a few moments time when we build the ZTG file. Next we configure the key mapping. For this game the plan is to replace the loading screen with a completely new image, so B00 is used as the initial background. The remaining backgrounds are used to create atmosphere for different levels. For example, we are using 5 backgrounds, although the full setup will normally require 14. For this demo, that is not important. When all configuration is complete, we test the tape file to make sure that everything works correctly. We include the backgrounds and the current settings and choose to create the ZTG file in the current directory. Remember, as we go through this tutorial here, there is a lot to see on the video, but there is a full guide that is also available that you can use in reference with this to make your journey a little bit easier as you go to build your own games to your liking. Finally, we launch the ZTG file to verify how the backgrounds integrate with the game in real time. Next we select the classic palette and copy it into the custom preset so we can adjust it. We also enable the shader. For each colour we apply a shader style and test how it looks in practice. To make the effort more pronounced on enemies, we darken the L1 colour. At the same time we reduce the saturation of the basic palette to make the overall image appear slightly more faded. Once we are satisfied with the result, we proceed to store the configuration into FX slots. For this game we use 2 FX slots. One is needed to hide the title screen while the other will be used throughout the entire game. First we store the current configuration into both slot 0 and slot 1. Then we set foreground transparency to 100% and enable it and store this configuration again into slot 0. Using the restore function, we compare slot 0 and slot 1. They are essentially the same, with one key difference. Slot 0 completely hides the ZX graphics and shows only the background, while slot 1 contains the visual setup we want to use during gameplay. At the same time, we configure the at start action so that when the game starts, background 0 is selected, black is used as a transparent colour, and slot 0 is activated. To test the FX Manager, we first want to create a simple marker. In this game, we use the flags in the top right corner as markers. With each new level, a new flag appears, so a total of 7. After reaching the 7 levels, the first flag starts flashing, then the next one, and so on until all 7 are flashing. After that, they no longer change. For this test, we use the first flag as a marker to detect the transition from the first screen. At that point, we want to switch the background B01 and activate slot 1. Once this is set up, we enable the FX Manager and then edit the ZTG file to store the current configuration. Since the FX Manager is active, an additional block with its parameters will also be saved. After saving, we can launch the game and test the results. The goal now is to switch between 5 different backgrounds as we progress through the levels. We choose the flag markers, but there is a complication: the flags accumulate. This means that multiple markers are visible on the screen at the same time. Because of that, we need to carefully manage the priority, or more precisely, the order in which the markers are captured. In this game, we can easily reach a state where 5 flags are visible without actually playing through all the levels, so we select to start from level 5. To do that, we wait in the menu until the option becomes available. Now that we have all 5 flags visible, we capture them as markers. However, we do this in reverse order. We start with the level 5 flag, then level 4, then level 3, and so on, finishing at level 1. The reason for this is how the FX Manager searches for markers. In every frame, it checks them in order starting from the first one. If we captured them in normal order, we would never detect the higher level markers because the level 1 marker is always present on the screen. By capturing them in reverse order, the FX Manager first checks for level 5, then level 4, and continues down to level 1, ensuring the correct marker is detected. This effectively creates a priority system where the higher level markers override the lower ones. We save the configuration into the ZDG files once again so we can restart the game from the beginning with all changes applied. After that, we demonstrate the transitions from level 1 to level 2 and then from level 2 to level 3, showing how the backgrounds change automatically during gameplay.